I'm showing here is robber coverage. And, the first thing I'll talk about is the alignments here. Our strong safety is what we call a width player. So to the passing strength, his base alignment would be 7 yards outside the end man on the line of scrimmage, 1 yard off the ball. He's in a cock stance in towards the football. Our weak safety opposite him versus a two-back formation is in what we call an ice alignment, where he's 6 yards off the line of scrimmage, 1 yard outside the end man on the line of scrimmage. 230 backers stacked to be on the outside eye of the guards. The free safety's 10 yards off the football, aligned in the B gap as a starting point. He's a flat foot read player, reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. The outside safeties, the strong and the weak, are also reading the end man on the line of scrimmage for run pass. And the corners, essentially their alignment would be 1 to 2 yards inside and 6 to 7 yards off, but that would vary with the split of the receiver. And then you see the basic zones, the reads that each defender is going to have. Our strong safety is what we call a high curl, leverage the flat player, where he's going to look to drop underneath the number one receiver while leveraging the flat with a landmark of the top of the numbers at 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Our free safety is going to get a run pass read off the end man on the line of scrimmage, and then he is going to, if he gets a pass read, make his pattern read off the number 2 receiver, or the Y in this diagram, pattern read from there. 2 to the flat, look up 1, 2 vertical, take him, 2 away, look up 1. The weak safety is our high curl player to the away side of the coverage, where he's looking to drop underneath the number 1 receiver and then leverage the flat from there. And I'll talk about, I think I have a slide here for robber rules, so I can talk about the corners. The 5, we call them the 5 responsibilities or rules for our corners in robber coverage is, number 1, first and foremost, they have to stay over top of any post route, maintaining lead position on the wide receiver. That would also pertain to any vertical route by the outside receiver, number 2 there. So their primary responsibility is defend the deep throws. Third would be drive on intermediate routes. So any type of speed out, curl, or dig. The robber rules for the corners would be to drive on it. Try to get a good break on the ball and get a catcher's mitt in there to break up the pass. If we were to get a 3-step route, number 4, the corners have to be solid on tackling the receiver after he makes the catch. And then 5, first any type of run, they're responsible to keep the ball in front and inside. So I think those are 5 important coaching points to our corners, and obviously would determine who would be first team and who would be second team, starting with 1 and working down to 5. Okay, another variation of our robber coverage would be the sky check to the away side of the coverage. We make a sky check there if we were to have a nub tight end to the away side. We're going to adjust the alignment of our weak safety to more of a width alignment into the boundary 4 yards outside of the number 1 receiver or the tight end there, and then 3 yards off the line. And he would go to a cock stance there, similar to what the strong safety would use, where in his ice alignment we would keep his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage. He would be more in a linebacker stance, cock stance if we go to a sky check. The backside corner, the weak corner, he's going to be slightly inside the tight end there on his inside eye, reading that tight end. Any type of vertical release by that tight end, he treats that. He takes that tight end man-to-man. That would be his robber rules there. If tight end releases, shoots out to the flat, then he's going to zone off there and look to help out from the read side. Over to the read side, you can see that our alignment to an apex number 2 receiver there would be to align on the outside eye of the number 2 receiver, still cocked in towards the football, still 1 to 3 yards off of the line of scrimmage, depending on down and distance there. We may deep into 3 yards in more of a passing situation. Our base alignment would be 1 yard off the line of scrimmage, outside eye of number 2. Then we have a rule for the strong safety. If number 2, if the ball is on the hash, number 2 takes his alignment outside of the hash, we'll landmark the hash. We use the hash for our alignment there. We won't go wider than number 2 if he goes outside the hash. Our free safety is going to widen his alignment in robber coverage and split the difference between number 2 and the offensive tackle. Take maybe 1 foot back inside towards the offensive tackle, make a flat foot read off the end man on the line of scrimmage, which in this case is the offensive tackle. And if he gets a high hat, if he gets a pass read, then his eyes are to number 2. He pattern reads from there. Linebacker responsibilities in robber coverage. You can see for S there, for our Sam backer, he's to the read side of the coverage there. He's the backer to the read side of the coverage. He's going to take an expanded drop, which essentially is he's going to work through the hook to the curl. We want him to get some good width and depth right there. The will linebacker, in a 2-back set here with a nub tight end. If that tight end is working vertically up the seam, we want our will backer to wall him off, and help the corner a little bit on the, on a vertically inside release there by the tight end. If the tight end's to the flat, he becomes a hook to curl player there. Versus 2-backs and a normal 2-back pro set, both those guys are essentially hook to curl players. One other point I'd make in looking at this slide is if the alignment of the number 1 receiver, the Z here, and the X receiver, if those 2 receivers have taken a near split to where we think it's possible that we could get some type of wheel route out of the number 2 receiver, our free safety and tough corner would communicate a zone it call where they would look to zone off any type of scissors cut, or any type of exchange route between the 1 and 2 receiver to the read side of the coverage. So our corner, when he gets a zone it call from his free safety, he plays more of a cover 2 read or a cover 3 read, which I'll go over. But he's more of he's going to be aware of the number 2 receiver's route, and he would look to zone off there as opposed to being tunnel visioned in on number 1. So that's a strong likelihood based on the formation that's drawn up here that we would make a zone it call.